Over the last 2 weeks in Barcelona, I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I could be very independent. Even though I felt like I was independent before this trip, I feel even more independent now because I did have to go to a different country without my parents for the first time. And I feel like I was able to adapt really quickly into the culture and understand the different cultural changes and how to listen and communicate, which is very important when you're not super familiar with the culture. I also learned that you need to appreciate the small things when you're on the trip and trying to do as much as you possibly can in the very small amount of time that we have and appreciate every second of it. I didn't think that culture played a huge part in my life before this. I was always raised in Fresno and I didn't really see where my family came from before this. My family is actually from Spain, and so it was really awesome to see where my family came from. And now I have a way better understanding of why my grandparents raised my mom that way and why my mom raised me a certain way. And I definitely saw a huge cultural shift in my life because of the way that the Spaniards did it and how I watched them and their culture interact with their families and how they interacted with the different people around them. I do believe that my family is a huge part of my life, and I see that now in the Spanish culture, and I understand that now. And I believe that culture will play a huge impact in my life now that I know where I came from and I've seen people interact with each other in that culture. And I think it's very important that I continue living on the Spanish culture in my family because it is very important to my great-grandparents and my grandparents and now my parents, even though I had no idea about it. Trip related to the class material because I feel like we had to manage a lot of people in a very small setting, and we had to try and figure out how to get 15 people one place, or we had to try and get 15 people into a sightseeing tour, and we had to manage our time on how to get places, how to be there on time, how to get back on time. We also had to figure out how to network with each other and make connections and build friendships. And I think that was a very important part of the trip because you couldn't really go anywhere by yourself, so you had to make friends no matter what you were doing. I feel like this trip will help me in my future career because I will be more adaptable in different situations, and I will most likely be able to handle different situations that most people haven't just because of different cultural experiences. And I also feel like I would take a different job in a different place because I have had this experience, and I do feel like I would be able to adapt well in different situations if it was the right fit for me, obviously. And I also feel like I would try different things and be a little bit more adventurous than I have been before in finding jobs and doing different things. So I do believe that this trip has helped me a lot and will continue to help me in my future careers. My advice to any Management 110 student looking into the Barcelona trip is absolutely 100% do it because you will gain memories that will last a lifetime. You'll gain new friends that you never would have imagined having. You will gain a different experience that only this trip can provide. And I believe that anyone who has the ability to do it should do it. My advice is that you should look into it a lot more, and you should kind of know what you're getting yourself into and have a different perspective on things, but also go in with a very open mind because this trip was nothing like I had ever expected, and it blew all my expectations out of the water. And I believe that if you're open-minded about the whole situation, that you will have one of the best times of your life.